Of all the people we've ever had on this podcast, we have never had a guest that has talked about a spiritual awakening, about how they moved to New Zealand and were awakened creatively, how the Māori people, the Māori culture pulled right into their soul and made them feel alive.
It's one of the greatest gifts, I think, that Aotearoa had to give to the world. We have this great privilege of living with indigenous culture that it is flourishing, it's being kept alive, the language is alive, the culture is alive. I come from a family. My grandmothers, they were native Brazilians, but this is not something that you talk in your everyday life, because the indigenous cultures of Brazil, they were decimated hundreds of years ago. We don't learn the language. We don't even know the hundreds of languages that we had there. And coming here and getting in touch with this helped me realize that there was something that I could reach out to.
This week's episode is a real special one. It is with a guest called Julio. Julio is from Brazil originally, but he moved from London with his Polish wife. He is now living in Palmerston North, and his story is absolutely glorious. So let's jump on in and meet Julio. NZ Ahead, coming to you from Taranaki, New Zealand. Julio, you are the very first guest on the NZ Ahead podcast that is going to open this episode with a karakia. I'm going to hand the mic over to you.
Thank you, Liz. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, let's start with the karakia. Hakiroto, hakiwaho, kiato te Māori ko kirinei, inya piki, me inya heke, ko te rangimarie, tapu irakune. Tihe Māori ora.
That was absolute, just the word, even though I don't know what you've said, and you're going to tell me what you've said, the words, they comfort you, don't they? Mm-hmm. Could you please explain, before we introduce you, what is a karakia, what you just said, and why you said it at the beginning of this podcast?
Yes. That's the power of Te Reo Māori. I think the words resonate with something deep in us. Karakias are prayers, or depending on the translations, some people say even incantations. They are things that are said in different contexts in the culture, in Te Reo Māori, before meals, before meetings, after meetings. It's usually to set ups in the mood. This one, hakiroto, hakiwaho, the translation would be hakiroto is to inhale, hakiwaho to breathe out. Kiato te Māori ko kirinei, calm down the life essence, the Māori that stirs inside me. Inya piki, inya hiki, through the ups and downs. Ko te rangimarie tapu irakonai, it is peace that I'm looking for. Tihe Māori ora, hail to the essence of life. It's a nice way to set up us in a nice mood. And it has everything to do with my journey here in New Zealand, this contact with the Te Reo, with the Māori culture. It's something that really resonates with me for several reasons that we're going to talk about today.
I could just do with you standing beside my bed and just saying that over and over again before I wake up in the morning and when I go to bed at night, just to remind me how beautiful. Yeah. It really is. Such a beautiful culture. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And actually, I want to say thank you for being brave enough, because there are so many times when I want to attempt to speak Māori and, say something, and I'm always a little bit hesitant because I don't want to make a mistake. And I know that's silly, but that's just the way I am. But I just want to say thank you for being the one that was brave enough to come on the podcast and share that with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
So your journey starts from way back from Brazil and then London and now to Palmerston North. But this is a different kind of chat we're going to have, because we're not going to go over the usual stuff of like how, what packing containers you used and how you got the visa and all. We will cover that. But this is more an in-depth conversation about a spiritual journey, as you've just shown us there, about how you have come to be in New Zealand spiritually as well as physically. And I can't wait to jump into that conversation. So could you please just start by saying who you are and where you have come from?
Yes.
Let's start there.
So my name is Julio. I'm a doctor. I was born in Brazil, and I live in Palmerston North with my wife and our daughter. She just turned 21 months yesterday. Mm. We are here for 8 months. It's been such a journey. As you said, coming all the way from Brazil, it made me think about the process of immigration in so many levels. I'm a trainee psychiatrist here in Palmerston North. I'm also a writer, and I work with psychiatry in Brazil for many years. And I think that I always have some sort of wanderlust. Even when I was there in Brazil, I had this feeling that something was pulling me out for many, many years. But it was just hard to make it happen. When I finished med school, I decided to pursue the academic career back in Brazil. I did my master's in psychiatry, and then I got a scholarship from King's College London to do my PhD there, researching addiction science. And this was in 2019. And I arrived in London in October 2019, 6 months before the lockdown. And that was a completely different experience of migration. I lived in London for 6 years. There, I met my wife. Our daughter was born there. But I think only when we made the move to New Zealand, I fully appreciate the whole aspect of migration in all the sides, because the experience of migration in London, it was quite different. I was a student. I had all the support of of King's College London, which is an amazing university. Even through the pandemic, we had lots of support. I could work from home. And it was more gradual. I just could adapt to London. Even the COVID pandemic, in a way, helped with that because everything was shut. We are all in the same boat all of a sudden. And I have time to integrate more on the everyday life. When we decided to move to New Zealand, I think that all this process of immigration, I compare with something that we use a lot in psychiatry. It's the framework called states of change, when we deal with changes in behavior, helping people change behaviors that are not being helpful for them. And it involves stages of pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance. Bringing this to our experience, I would say that we were feeling, we had a great time in London for many years. London's a great place to live, and we are very welcome there for a long time. But my wife and I, we came from small towns. She's from Poland, I'm from Brazil. And we miss the contact with nature. We travel a bit throughout the UK, considering moving to different places and stuff. But it was not easy to find jobs with my level of training out of London. And we kept staying there. At some point, I remember that we went to a festival quite in the middle of nature, and we started thinking more seriously about moving closer to nature and leaving those values that we had. But it was kind of what we call pre-contemplation, right? People, when people are kind of complaining of the home country or whatever situation in life they have, but they're not really committed to make a change. They just say, this could be better. And then you start making small changes, sometimes in your lifestyle, or you move to a different neighborhood, a different town. Sometimes that's enough, right? And for us, we kept trying to make these changes, but things seems to be a bit stuck until the birth of our daughter. And then that was a big hit when we really realized that we need to make a change. And then the feelings start to build up because we wanted to be somewhere else, but we didn't know exactly how. And that's the moment of ambivalence. When you are sitting on the fence, I think on the pre-contemplation stage, you staring at the fence, you know there's something there. And then on the contemplation, you sit on the fence and you are kind of both ways. You don't want to do something risky, but you want to change things. You don't know exactly why. We try applying more actively for jobs elsewhere in the UK, start broadening the search. And then at some point, I got in touch with a job agency because I had some friends who worked in Australia that I worked with them during my research. And we decided to apply for other jobs. And the guys from this agency asked me, have you considered New Zealand? I said, New Zealand? Yeah, I heard it's a beautiful place, but not really. Why? Why should I consider New Zealand? And this guy from the agent said to me, no, because they have these amazing relocation packages for doctors. You can work there. They're going to pay everything. You can just go. And I was super excited about that. I told my wife, let's do it. Wow, that's going to be awesome. And she was super on board. We started reading about New Zealand. This was the time when we found the NZ Ahead podcast. And we're just listening to the episodes and really hooked into the idea. Every episode, it sounds more like we were the kind of place we were looking for. And at some point, this was at the second semester of 25. Around, yeah. No, sorry. Yeah. Or 24. No, 24. That's what 24. 24. Everything happened so fast. It's very hard.
It does.
Track. Yeah. That was the second semester of 24. Yara was born in June. And then this call with the agency happened in around August, September 24. And then after that, we realized that there was no relocation package. That was a mistake. The gentleman from the agency, I think it was an honest mistake. I didn't think he was trying to trap us or something like that, because there was a relocation package until June 24. After the COVID pandemic, the government was really trying to attract more doctors to work here. Even junior doctors like me, they had relocation packages, but that had just ended. And another job agency gave you more information. This is something that we find in the community. Of course, you're going to talk about this community that we have in NZ Ahead. But we talk with other immigrants. It's sometimes very hard to find accurate information. Only when I joined the community, it became easier because there are job agencies there, there are immigrant advisors and things, but we didn't know that yet. So we are kind of scrambling with this world of information. Yeah. Even the people from different agencies, they didn't know exactly your situation. Everything is unique. I graduated in Brazil when I was working in the UK, so I needed some time, a longer period of experience in the UK, so I could apply for a position in New Zealand. They also didn't know that. I just found that out by around November or something like that I would only be able to apply in January. So that period of contemplation, New Zealand became something that it was like a goal, but with a low level of commitment. We didn't even know if I would get the job. We don't know how long this would take. So it was not the time to give notice to jobs or even tell other people. It was kind of a secret, but we are also considering other options. But the other options didn't happen. We were just trying things. And I remember in January 25, that was a moment when we really committed to the plan because everything else was not working. We were getting more and more excited about New Zealand. And we decided to message that I had completed the time that I needed of training back in the UK. And then I messaged the agency on the 10th of Jan and said, listen, we are full on. That's what we want. We really want to do it. Just let's take it from there. And I think it was not just the email, but we were prepared, inside of us. It was like, as you said, the spiritual part was on board. We were committed to make this work. And this is when we really told the agency that we were ready. And that was the end of the first part. From the 10th of Jan, when I said that I was that I wanted to work in New Zealand, exactly 1 month later, I was signing a contract with the hospital in Palmerston North. They sent me a list of places. We chose Palmy. Everything was aligned with what we wanted. And I had an interview on the night of my birthday. That was the moment that every immigrant to New Zealand remembers, when you send those emails at night and you wait until the next morning for the replies. Are they going to say yes? Are they going to say no? Then you wake up, the first thing you do is to check your emails. And they were there, okay, let's book an interview at 3 a.m. On my birthday in February. Then I said, fine, let's do it. I got the job, we signed it up, and then the next part started. That was the beginning of the journey.
That was the beginning. Wow. So you'd never been to New Zealand before. You've listened to all the podcasts, you've done all your research, but what was it that was pulling you? What was this spiritual pull that you had? What was the main thing that you thought New Zealand could give to you, as opposed to London or going back to Brazil or elsewhere, Australia, elsewhere in the world? What was it?
I think it was the land itself. It's hard to describe when you are not here. I think I only found out why we were coming to New Zealand once I got here. It was hard to put it on words. We were reading about things that only resonate, like the lifestyle. People are more friendly or community orientated. They do a lot of outdoors activities, a nice life-work balance. Things that the fact that the country doesn't have a huge population, we have a similar, or even I think slightly larger area than the UK, and we have half the population of London. It is a country.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah. So people have. We kept hearing people saying that they have this sense of, we are glad that you're here. We need you here because you are part of this community. We're trying to make this work. I start reading about the Māori culture just a little bit. And this was another huge thing that happened after we arrived. So it's funny because there was the pulling, but it only became clear when we got here. You know, it was strange. I think it was an act of faith. This leap of faith, and you jump into the immigration process. And I think that's everything to do with the whole concept of immigration being much more than just jumping on a plane or taking care of logistics and stuff. I think it's something that really has the chance to show you, to get in touch with who you are. You can find so much more about yourself because you're throwing yourself into this unknown. And that was a bit what happened to us. We only found out why after we got here, really deeply. Yeah.
Okay. So before we get to the part where you're here, I want to rewind a little bit, because you did mention that you are also a writer as well as a doctor. Can you talk to me about your creative side?
Yes.
What does that look like?
Actually, that was also a reason of ambivalence when we decided to come here. The thing is, I started my journey in medicine a bit later in life, in comparison to my colleagues. And I work as a web designer. I went to, my first degree was in art history back in Brazil. And I was doing lots of things related to art. But I mean, Brazil is a complicated country. Some professions are very hard sometimes to get by. I come from a lower middle class family. I have never had a chance to travel a lot around the world. The first time that I went abroad, I went to New York for a week when I was 25 or 26, and then I traveled to Portugal when I was in med school, and my next travel abroad was when I moved to London. So I didn't have the chance to travel a lot. And I was always dabbling with this thing between creativity, but not being able to pay the bills and things like that. And then I decided to go to med school, which was kind of a dream that I had when I was a kid. And then I set all my creativity aside because I had to dedicate myself to medicine. When I finished my PhD back in London, I decided to give it another chance with that. I was reading that book, The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. Maybe you are familiar with it.
Yes, I am.
It's a beautiful book, right?
Yes.
And it was a journey. Those 12 weeks writing morning pages, getting back in touch with my creativity, it was so transforming. And I think it was one of the times when I felt better in London, because I was in that creative space with everything happening. I was going to acting classes and joining writing clubs and doing lots of things. At the same time, preparing for training in psychiatry and getting jobs in psychiatry, because they were still paying the bills. And I was very divided between the two. When the plan to come to New Zealand happened, I remember that I was joining a playwriting course with an excellent teacher that were like private lessons that I would have, but the course was postponed for a few months because she was filming somewhere in Italy. And it was kind of not aligning with the timing because we are planning to travel. I didn't know if I should stay in London. If people are familiar with the process of the artist's way, they talk a lot about you block your creativity for a lot of different reasons. And I was thinking, wow, I'm doing this move to New Zealand. Why am I doing this? Am I just uprooting the whole thing now that I'm just adapting to London and starting a creative process? This thing come up. But at the same time, I felt the pulling to come, and it felt like the right thing. How creativity is going to play up with this? I might just ruin the whole plan. But it just felt right. So we decided to come. I said, fine, don't worry. I'm writing now. I can write from anywhere. Maybe there's a reason for that too. And it did. There was a reason. I remember when we came here, I started looking at the Palme has a very small community of creative people, and they have a writers club in the library here on, I think it's every Tuesday, every second Tuesday of the month. We joined there to talk about writing, and I went to this first meeting maybe 3 or 4 weeks after we arrived, and they were just closing applications for contributions to a local book. So I wrote a poem that went to the book. Then I said, wow, I was here at the right time. I came to the last meeting when they were accepting pieces for the book. And that was the moment when I started realizing that, okay, maybe this is going to work. And as we're going to talk in a bit, when you want to talk about the period here, all this creative thing became one of the things that led to the second big commitment, and brought a lot of peace as well. But that was the first part of writing in New Zealand. It was strange. It didn't feel right in the beginning, but it found its place later on.
Is Marlena, your wife, fully supportive of all this?
Yes, Marlena, she used to work in the UK as a doula, which was something that was also a pathway of discovery for her. She started learning about birth keeping during the pandemic, and she changed her careers completely. She became an amazing birth keeper. She was working with charities in London who support immigrants and refugees who needs doulas and things like that. She learned so much about her own plans of motherhood. She was super involved. She had a huge network there, but she was also feeling that it was not the place where we wanted to be for the rest of our lives. You know, I think that this process for us, and I think for many people, is not only about the situation you have at the moment, but where this road is taking you, right? Maybe you're having a nice life, you're happy where you are, you love your country, you love your family, your friends, but you feel there's something missing, and you even would like to give it a try in another place, right? And she was on board with this. Let's give it a try. We can always return to the UK. She's a British citizen. Yara is a British citizen. I can apply for a job there again. I had an amazing job in London. The doors are open. We can come back. It was much harder for her than it is for me. As I said, she's from Poland, so she was 2 hours away from home on a flight to see her mom. I was already far from Brazil anyway, so my family already knows her far. And she had to leave a huge network that she built there for many years. She was living in the UK for almost 20 years when we met. But I think she was, and she is very brave to decide to move the nest and bring a small baby here to a new country to build this whole structure again. Of course, I couldn't have done this without her. She was super supportive and still is. And we are doing this together. It's awesome.
Sounds like a good team that you've got.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a personal question. You don't have to give me any figures. I don't want to know any figures. I just want you to answer the question. Is being a doctor in London better paid than it is being a doctor in Palmerston North?
That depends. The thing is, when you are a doctor, everything depends on your level of training, right? So when you finish med school, you become what was usually known as a junior doctor or a resident doctor. And then you can either be in a training position or non-training position. What I was in the UK, because I had some experience as a psychiatrist, but I was not a consultant, which is like the top of the career when you are allowed to practice without supervision. You have full independence. You can open your own practice. This is what a consultant means. You can be the lead doctor in a service, things like that. When you're not there yet, I was what they call specialty doctor. I have experience, but I'm not a consultant. So I had an okay salary, like similar salary to an early consultant, which was pretty good. But if I decided to join a training program, my salary will be cut in half because I'm going to be earning similar to a guy who just finished med school and is joining the training program. Comparing to New Zealand, when I am I'm a training registrar. I'm in the beginning of my first year of training in psychiatry. If I put my salary in pounds, it is less than I was earning back as a specialty doctor, and probably less than it may be similar to what I would be earning as a junior doctor back in London. But the quality of life that we have here with that amount of money, it's incomparable. It's so much better to be here. Even earning, which comparable in pounds will be less, but you get so much more for your money here. That's no comparison.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to know. That's what I was wanted to get at, was that, you know, what you take a pay cut, but you go up in life experience and, like you say, the lifestyle. So you're in Palmerston North and you've moved with your family and you've come here and, well, sorry, can I just pause? First of all, can you just clarify to me, what is a psychiatrist? What does a psychiatrist do?
A psychiatrist is a doctor who specializes in mental health. We work usually in a multidisciplinary team involving psychologists, social workers. We prescribe medications that can help with situations involving mental health, like depression, anxiety, PTSD, schizophrenia. We are able to identify sometimes when a treatment needs or doesn't need pharmacological intervention. Sometimes the patient only needs therapy. But because we are doctors, we also care about the physical part. We can identify physical complications that can be affecting the mental health or that might be affected by your mental health. This is what a psychiatrist does. Yeah, it's a doctor that specializes in mental health.
Thank you. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. Do you spend a lot of time thinking if you're a psychiatrist? Do you go deep into thought and think about a lot of things?
All the time.
Yeah.
It's hard not to.
I can imagine. Yeah. Which again is that whole thing about, I can just imagine you thinking about New Zealand and thinking about all these different scenarios and your creativity. And right, let's get to New Zealand. Let's get you there. So you're in Palmerston North. First of all, tell me what your impression was. You've just come from the busiest city, one of the busiest cities in the world, and you're in Palmy. So what was it like? What was it like when you stepped off the plane?
Yeah, the contrast was so huge in so many ways. Well, the first impression in New Zealand could not have been better. Even before we arrived in Palmerston North, when we got in Auckland, this is when I first told the difference. We really are in a different place, because we got to the airport and we went to border control, and we had our residence visas, because because of my job, I could apply for a straight to resident visa. So we are residents. We're going to be permanent residents in about a year and a half. So when we went to border control, the lady there checked our visas and said, "You're residents," and said, "Yeah, we are." Then said, "Then welcome home." We almost cried.
Yeah. It's so lovely.
After 40 years of traveling with a baby, we went to Singapore. We spent so much time on the planes. It was like 40 hours from door to door. The end of the journey, closing the house in London was a nightmare. Everything had to be done in such a rush. And we were so tired. And when she said that, we really felt welcome. And we said, well, this place has something. And then we came to Palmy. We left London in the middle of the huge heat wave. We came across the world. It was the first day of winter. It was this beautiful, cold, crispy night. No clouds in the sky. The purest air that you can imagine. That was the first thing that I noticed. The wide roads, everything was so wide and quiet, full of trees and houses everywhere. I was so used to those terrace houses, one after the next in London. Yeah. Everything is a bit crumpled up, and everything is so wide. Every house has a little garden. They're all flat and wide. And then I left home to buy some water and some food for us. It's like 2 a.m. There was only a petrol station nearby where I could buy some stuff. And the smell, it was so pure, this smell of cedar wood and fireplace. It felt so good to walk on those streets. But that was an amazing first impression. But our arrival in New Zealand was the hardest part of the whole thing. You know, this is we had a beautiful time, but we got sick. And the first night after we got here, we all got COVID. Everyone was super sick. We are super weak. We are in a very tight schedule. We only have 2 weeks to prepare the whole house before I start working at the hospital with night shifts and weekends and full-time work. And Malena, we have to be alone with Yara. We didn't have a house. We didn't have a place to stay. We are looking for furnished houses, which can be really hard to find here, but we thankfully found one. And then after we set up, which was, again, lots of things happened in this setup that also told us that we were in the right place at the right time, like a furnished house appearing at the end of the week, just where we wanted, people in the hospital being supportive, giving advice, and people from the community. We couldn't have done this without Andrea and Heather and Ira and Will, people who were already living in Palmy and helped us with heaters. We advised. Andrea came to our house with her car to help us do some shopping, to tell me what she had bought her car, advice about the town, telling us to move around. It was awesome. Without the community, this would have been a nightmare. And at the end of the day, we can only thank you and Brian for setting that up, because it's thanks to you that this network exists. And we cannot thank you enough.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then we were here.
You are here because you love New Zealand.
You might be moving to New Zealand,
living in New Zealand, or you might just spend your days dreaming of visiting this gorgeous country. Because we love New Zealand as much as you do, we have compiled a short and very unique 5-day video series showcasing life in New Zealand, what it's really like. These videos are real, they are exclusive, and best of all, they're absolutely free. So if you would like to view New Zealand from the inside out and find out what life is really like down here, sign up now, and every day for 5 days we will send you a personal 3-minute video showcasing some brilliant aspect of life in New Zealand. You are gonna love it. Go to www.nzahead.com/free. We can't wait to share those videos with you. Okay, let's get back on with the show.
And then we were here. And then the real challenge started, because being at the hospital, having to adapt to the new environment, having still the writing thing on the back of my head, you left this behind, what you going to do? Adapting to the new job. I think for many migrants, you have a process when you arrive. That is this American psychologist called Salman Akhtar, who talks about immigration as a process of as a rebirth, right? When you find yourself, a second individuation, when you find who you are because of the context of immigration. So this rebirth, the finding your identity, I felt it so hard when I came to New Zealand. I was working in a place, my job in London was a 9-to-5 job, no weekends, no nights, working in the community, away from the hospital, talking to people in their everyday lives, which I really love when you have time for these long chats and stuff. My job in Palmy was in the psych ward with very severe cases, people who need attention 24 hours, a completely different environment. And I felt a bit in a conflict. Wow, what did I do? You know, throwing away all the life that we had to work in a different environment like this inside the hospital. I think that the immigration process for many people involves a lot of guilt and this ambivalence in the feelings. You are so excited, you are happy to be there, but you are worried about the mistakes that you might have made. Did you leave your family behind? And I think for people who come from their homelands and people who are already immigrants, there are different feelings somehow. If you leave your home place for your big immigration move, you might be feeling a bit conflicted about leaving your family behind, your friends, everything that you build in your home country. And if you're already an immigrant like us, you work so hard to be there in London, to have a job, to have a family, to build things there, and you're just going to throw it all away to go to a different place. And this is how I felt when I came here. It was amazing to be here. It was really nice. Everything was working well. The people in the hospital was incredibly supportive. Palmerston North Hospital is an excellent place to work for health professionals. I really recommend. They were super supportive. They still are. But it is a different environment, a different routine that I was not used to. And I certainly didn't have any time to write in the beginning. I was trying to find my feet. And I was very, I think the first 3 months we were like almost feeling like clinical depression. We were really heavy on us. Marlena was super stressed, setting up the house for Yara. We are trying to find things to do. The weather was not great. It was very, very cold. It was hard for us to move around. And the best thing that we have here, the other parks, lots of things to do. Palm is an incredibly child-friendly place. When the weather got a bit better, we start taking Yara everywhere. We have parks from walking distance from every house, the river, the beautiful river pathway. We couldn't enjoy that yet because we are setting up in the middle of winter. And then that was the beginning when things were very hard, and it was hard to find my place in this process of rebirth. I understood later that those were the necessary growing pains, you know, that I think every migrant lives at some point, depending on the situations. And that was the first 3 months. They were very hard.
Mm. And how did Marlena cope? How was she doing?
Well, I think she managed to find some sort of network very slowly, because Palmy also offers a lot of activities for kids to help, and those activities, they help parents to meet each other. We start taking Yara to the Baby Bop. It's something at the local library on Thursday mornings. The babies go like a disco for babies. It's super fun. And she even start meeting all the Polish people who live here in Palmy. They start building this small community of Polish moms. We start finding the little products that you have for baby. It looks a bit materialistic, but if you have babies, you know that there are things that you really need, right? What brand of nappy is going to work? Or if you want to buy, we have some dietary restrictions. So we have to find adequate foods for all of us, for Yara and stuff. And I think she managed it. I don't even know how she made it, because she was here by herself all day, trying to figure that out, away from home, away from friends, and she did it. Yara is really thriving and having so much fun in these activities. She's playing in the park all the time, super strong. She's speaking 3 languages beautifully, mainly Polish, lots of English and a bit of Portuguese, and even saying a bit of Tereo sometimes because she hears me and she just catches from the air. And things are so much better now. But that was also the second part of the commitment that we're going to get.
and I'm sorry you had to go through those months of like depression and anxiety, and you haven't done the right thing. But as you know, I'm not surprised, because it's such a common thing that we do. I think as well, when we move and we're in the rush of everything, and we're planning this and we're preparing this, and where am I going to? And then when you get there and then you actually stop, it kind of just hits you, doesn't it? And that's when you have time to think clearly and think, oh, what have I just done? So I'm really excited to hear the next part. But before we do, a bit of a personal question again, and from a writer to another writer. You said you weren't writing much when you came to New Zealand, because obviously you've thrown yourself into your new life. You're working at the hospital, you're working nights now, life is busy. How does it feel how do you feel when you write? What does writing bring to you?
I think writing helps me get in touch with things that I am not able to see immediately. It helps me deal with my fears and help me learn more about myself, the world, and other people. I think that was the awakening that I had back in London. When I started, it was funny because I was naturally, my first impulse of writing was writing horror stories. I was crazy about horror stories when I was a kid and teenager and stuff. And then I kind of left it aside when I started working. I worked for many years in the Justice Department back in Brazil, and then working as a doctor. I got a bit away from horror because I was seeing so many serious things on my everyday work. And I stopped seeing. I don't like horror as entertainment, the gore of the things, but I like the mystery and the flexibility the horror gives to you when you write. And when I started writing back in London, I think that I was drawn to write horror again because I could put my fears on paper. And London can be a bit of a creepy town sometimes. And I was writing in winter or autumn and listening to horror audiobooks on my way to work. And it was so much fun, to write all those dialogues and creating the worlds and things like that. And I was just, I like the way that writing draws you into the world of your story, and you just create these environments and you start interacting with your characters. And this, when we jumping from what this became possible in New Zealand, I think that somehow I knew that when I was settled, I would be able to use that experience to write again. When I have this first chance to write here in the Writers Club, there was a quite of an insight about that, because making another parallel between immigration and parenthood, I think that becoming a parent was also something that happened in the middle of the creative awakening. And I was worried because, there you go. I thought I'm going to have plenty of time now in London to do lots of things, but now I'm a dad, so I won't be able to do all the courses that I wanted to do. Is the child going to take away my time, and I am not going to be able to do things? And when we were here in New Zealand, when the people said, okay, we need things for the book, and we're going to make a writing exercise, you write about something that is in your mind. The first thing that came to my mind was a story about a father and his baby girl. So she becomes an inspiration for you, Yeah. I was expecting all the parenthood to be a challenge for creativity. of course, it takes your time, but it opens so many doors in your heart, in your mind, for your sensitivity, your creativity, your ideas, feelings that you didn't know you have, and even the fears that I didn't know I have. Right. When you are a child, my only fear is about her safety. I'm not worried about monsters and demons. This is not a problem, as long as she's all right. And then she becomes my inspiration for writing. That was the first sign that it was going to work, and it did.
Yeah. Oh, so tell me about your creative awakening. Talk to me about that. What does that mean? Because we've talked about this before we started recording, and I will say it in the intro, but a creative awakening, it sounds very spiritual and very, well, mysterious. Explain it to me. What does it mean?
I think this awakening is directly connected to a process of surrender. I think this was the big commitment that I had to make when I was here in New Zealand. The first commitment was when I sent an email to the people back in London, and I said, yeah, we are in. And then when we got here, I realized that I was not as in as I thought. Things were a bit different. I think every migrant also experiences that. You have a lot of expectations and frustrations, and I was trying to enjoy all the time that we had in New Zealand, but I didn't have time for that. And I was asking myself, what can I do now? And I always saw myself as a spiritual person. I always tried to talk to the universe, to the goddess, to God, about what's the next step, try to get in touch with that. And I think that one of the things that helped me, actually, because in the hospital, we have this huge number of Māori workers. And it's something that I think most hospitals and most working places in New Zealand, they do that. They're very integrated to the Māori culture. We have these karakias at the beginning of every meeting. Every time that we invite a patient of Māori descent to an interview, we offer, would you like to start the meeting with a karakia? Would you like to end with a karakia? All my Māori colleagues were always talking about that, and that made me feel much better to be in this very spiritualized environment. You know, when you get in touch with your emotions and you ask Mother Nature to calm you down, and you go to the river, you go to the forest, that connection that the Māori have with nature, it's something that it's one of the greatest gifts, I think, that Aotearoa had to give to the world. We have this great privilege of living with indigenous culture that it is flourishing, it's being kept alive, the language is alive, the culture is alive. I come from a family. My grandmothers, they were native Brazilians, but this is not something that you talk in your everyday life, because the indigenous cultures of Brazil, they were decimated hundreds of years ago. We don't learn the language. We don't even know the hundreds of languages that we had there. And coming here and getting in touch with this helped me realize that there was something that I could reach out to. And that was the land, you know, the land of New Zealand, the land of Aotearoa. That's something in the land that is there to welcome you. I think this is what we feel when we come here. This is why it's so hard to explain before we arrive. And then I remember being in a river in Ashurst, a place not far here from Palmy. We were there in the river, the three of us, went for a swim. I was by myself at some point, just praying and talking to myself and say, what should I do? Because I know that I am in the right place in the right time, but I don't have time for writing. People in the hospital, they offer me a chance to join the training program to become a consultant psychiatrist, which was, again, they made an opening for joining the training program, like an exception in that year. Last year, they usually make only 2 openings, but they decided to make a third one around October, and I was just here at the right time. Then I said, wow, if I do that, I'm gonna commit myself for the next 5 years to be in this training program, which is also demanding. But I'm going to be a consultant psychiatrist at the end of that, and I'm going to have more flexibility, I'm going to have more means to do things, more options, places to live, and more control over my schedule and stuff. But it's a huge commitment. And I didn't know if I want to do that again. I didn't know if I was prepared for that. And that day in that river, when I was praying, I felt like the earth, Mother Nature, or how they say here, Papatuanuku, was talking to me and said, trust me, mate. Just trust me. I brought you this far, didn't I? You are here, you're safe. Just let it go, just let it flow and release control, you know? Then I said, wow, okay then, so let's do it. So I got full on, I said, okay, fine, I'm gonna do and when I stepped out of this crossroads, you know, because crossroads, I wrote about this the other day on Substack. Crossroads are dangerous places because they're exciting when you reach a crossroad because everything is possible. You have lots of options there. But if you stay in the crossroad for too long, the different options, they start dragging your energy in different directions.
Yes, yes.
So you need to take a step forward. Sometime and you say, I'm going to do this. And that moment, you're going to commit to do that next step. And that's what I did. Fine, I'm going to do the training and I'm going to become a consultant psychiatrist. And when I did that, my heart was peaceful enough so I could write. So one thing fed the other. I start talking to other writers. I start reading more about that, people who have to work 9 to 5 and still feed their creative passions. And it's amazing how they start helping each other. I think being a psychiatrist obviously helps my writing because I'm constantly thinking about human behavior, stories, things that people live. This is what I love about psychiatry. I have the chance to talk to people about their lives. And it's something that was brought to another level here in New Zealand because in many places in the Western medicine, we talk about the biopsychosocial model of health, right? It's something that you use a lot in psychiatry. You talk about the biology, how your physical body affects your mental health, how the drugs are going to take care of some of the symptoms, regulation of neurotransmitters and things like that. The psychology of the thing, your emotions and all, and the social environment where you are, like everything affects your mental health, everything affects you as an individual, and they need to be taken care of, even if it's a multidisciplinary team. So this is the biopsychosocial model. In the Maori culture, you have what they call the house. It's wharewhanu or something, that you have the 5 pillars of health, right? You have the physical, you have the mental, you have the spiritual, you have the community, and you have the land. Your relationship with these 5 things, it's what needs to be taken care of when you talk about your mental health. And I felt this here. This is something that I have to think about all the time, and how much that brings to my writing, thinking about all these values, your connection to the land, your connection to your family, your connection to your culture, your connection to your work, everything that builds up. And at the same time, my writing makes me a better psychiatrist because I think it helps me to put in words things that are going to help my patients to understand their stories in a better way, to help them understand their stories, to find the solutions for themselves and be aware of all these aspects of the story, you know? So they feed each other in a very nice way. I don't have to write for a living, so I can write whatever I want. And it's just something that found its place in my life. It's something that I can really do anytime. Every moment that I have some free time, because I have to be flexible, right? I cannot commit with a write in a given time of the day. It's like going to the gym. I can only go when Yara's asleep or if she's busy doing something else. And if I have some time after lunch when I don't have any clients yet or no routines in the hospital, I can open my laptop and write for a few minutes. Before going to bed, I can write for a few minutes again. It's working. I just finished a play that I was working. It was completely stuck when I was back in London. I was writing and writing for months and months and months. I just finished the day before yesterday, and I was so happy with that. Just writing here in the middle of the night. I am on night shift this week, so last night I was working until 3 a.m. I was on call, yeah. But because I was waiting for the calls, I was always had some free time, and then the house was quiet, so I could write a bit. So these things happen in that process of acceptance. You know what I mean? I think that I think life in general, but migration in particular, it's a big balance between intention and acceptance. Because it's a huge act of agency. You decide that you're going to change your life and move to a different country. But at the same time, you cannot control everything. And this is when the acceptance comes into play. It's like you're sailing a boat. And if you know that if you cannot just stick to the wheel firmly because it's going to break. But if you just let it go, you don't know what the boat's going to, right? So you have to control, but let it go. Control and let it go. And because migration throws you in such an empty space, and again, metaphorically, we are in an island in the middle of the Pacific. So you are really in high seas, right? There's not a lot of things to hold on to. So you need to let the land takes you at some point, and you make a decision, you see the opportunities that it has. And we hear this for so many people in the community. I came as a TI professional and I became a teacher, or I became a dancer instructor. I found myself doing podcasts or whatever, because right, it brings something in you that you didn't know that was needed. Right? That was another first impression that we came to understand later. We went to Pack and Save, one of the big supermarkets here, and we saw all those fruits and stuff. And I said, wow, it's everything made in New Zealand. That's so weird. Such a small country. I had no idea they were so self-sufficient in so many things. It was a bit of a shock, because in London you are used to have everything year round, right? You have like peppers. You have peppers all year, and they're basically the same price because they're just there sitting at the supermarket. In here, it's quite seasonal. So when we came, the peppers are crazy expensive. The cucumbers, they're crazy expensive. Even the lady in the supermarket told me once, "Are you really buying this cucumber? It's so expensive, like $9 for one cucumber." And I said, "No, you're right. It's too much." And then a few months later, the cucumbers are on offer because the production is huge. And we live with the seasons. And that's very much aligned with our values, you know. But this fertility of the land, I think, resonates with all these changes. The land is fertile, but a fertile ground doesn't mean that you're just going to sit and watch and the people's going to throw food in your mouth. You need to put up the work, right? The land is there, but you need to put up the work, and then it gives you back. So you give it to the land, and the land gives you back. You give to the community gives you back. And I think this is the magic that we feel in Aotearoa. This is what people come and feel there is something in the land that allows you to do that drives you forward to find yourself. I think that's when the spiritual journey meets all the practicalities and all the work and the social aspects. And then you find yourself doing something and being part of a community. And this is where we found ourselves. And we really are every day.
Do you know, I've always wanted to talk about this kind of thing, and I've never really found a person to be able to talk about it on a podcast with. And I was just thinking then, as you were talking, it's so very true when I have found it to be my truth, you know, when people say, so what is it about? And this is really hard because we support people moving to New Zealand. So I'm supposed to have an answer, but it's like, so what is it about New Zealand then? What is it about New Zealand that you really, really love? Or why did you want to move? You know, why did you stay there for 17 years? What is it? And what you've just described about the land and the people and the connection and the commitment and all of that you just said, it makes it that's it. that's it. And I think when you're given that in abundance, as we are when we are in New Zealand, if we open ourselves to it, if we're closed and like, oh no, I'm a Brit and I don't do it like that, and this is not what we do here. And if you forget all that and put that aside, and just like you did in the river, open yourself up and go, tell me, what is it? Help me, what is it? It comes to you in abundance. I don't know how, it just does, doesn't it? And I love that. I love that so much. And again, I've never really had the chance to speak about the Māori culture, about this whole family and nature and earth and giving, just holding, again, when we release this podcast, it doesn't matter because it'll have gone out and this will have happened. But at the moment, we're trying to rent our house in New Zealand, and there's a Māori family who want to rent the house, and we were doing a Zoom call with them. And, like just seeing if we both were a good match. And we were talking and everything was quite, we've never met each other before. We were talking and everything was quite, just on a level where it is when you're just having a Zoom call with someone that you've never met before. And then all of a sudden she said to me, so are you guys just traveling the world then? And I said, no, actually, I said, this is more like a healing journey. And I told her that I'd lost both my parents within 6 months of each other. And I'm not joking, Julio. It was like someone opened a hole in the screen of my computer and she reached through and put her arms around me and held me. She said, and she only said a few simple words. She said, you need your whānau. You need your whānau. And I just wanted to start crying, just like, it was so bizarre that all that other stuff about the house and this and rent and blah, blah, it was just like this connection between the two of us was so strong. And yeah, exactly what you've just said. When you come and you're open to it, it finds you and it feeds you and it frees you, actually. It frees you so you can become the person, your next step, your creative, your whatever it is you want to do. I love it. I absolutely love it. So thank you. Thank you for articulating that for me, because I've always wanted to do that and I've never been able to. So
my pleasure. It was really good to hear that you feel this way too. I think that when I started getting in touch with it, I was a bit worried as well, because even talking to my friends, I was wondering, is this cultural appropriation? Should I be saying karakias all the time and in my house and stuff? And my Māori friends just said, yeah, man, by all means. Yeah, bro, just do it. That's okay. No problem. Because they are happy to share that. I think that when you do it respectfully, of course, I'm not going to make a moko on my face. This is something only reserved for Māori people. But the thing about being in contact with the indigenous culture and the Maori in particular, because it's a culture that survived for so many years, the point is not to become Maori. The point is to get in touch with your own indigeneity, with your own roots, to connect to your family, to connect to your whānau, to connect to your land, to connect to your people. Even I feel closer to my people in Brazil, even to the land in Brazil, than I was in London. Maybe when I was in Brazil, we never got in touch with our indigenous roots when I was in Brazil. For people who are not from Brazil, it's hard to comprehend the level of when you live in a colonized country for so many years. I'm going to tell you something horrible about Brazilian culture now. When I was a child, what we learned about the Brazilian indigenous people, it was like they did not adapt to slavery because they were too lazy. And because of that, the Portuguese need to bring Africans to work in the fields. And that's it. We don't talk much about the indigenous culture. We just say, these are the lazy people who didn't want to be slaves. Nobody wants to be a slave. And these people are just decimated one by one, right? For hundreds of years. We don't talk about that culture. I have these ancestors that I had to search for them now. I used to listen to the stories of the Amazon forest from my parents. Both of my parents, they were born in an Amazon state in the north of Brazil, and I grew up in the south. And they were always telling stories about the Amazon forest and the fantastic animals and things like that. But I had this privilege because they were born there. It's not something that we learn all the time. It's more like a curiosity, you know. And when we talk about this with the Maori people, we see that this is such a gift for non-Maori as well. If they can get in touch with their roots, doesn't matter where they are from. If they are from Britain, if they are from countries who are also colonized, or countries who lost touch with their roots for a long, long time because they have a very early industrial process like Britain, right? How it is to get in touch with your British roots, how important this is, right? To get in touch with the history of your land, to see the history of your family and stuff, because these roots, they take you anywhere. It's not the roots that drag you down. They are roots that give you ground to fly. This is what we feel. And this is very positive. And this, I think, it's one of the privileges of that. And this is why I think being in contact with the Māori culture helped me with the process of migration in general. You know, even facing these challenges in the beginning, when you look at the rituals like the haka, when they make this aggressive song and put this energy out and things like that, even things that we propose to the patients sometimes. I talk to the occupational therapists at the hospital, say, listen, maybe these people need some output for anger, let them scream and do the haka and stuff. You are showing how brave you are. You are showing you are facing the challenge of the land. Imagine being here in New Zealand, arriving in a canoe 1,000 years ago without eating, without anything, having to hunt and stuff. They just face the challenge, say, I am here, I am alive, I am doing this, and I need your help. Bring to the land, and let's do it together. And you reach out to the people around you. You know, you build your whānau, you build your community and stuff. And that gives you so much strength. What we have in the NZ Ahead podcast is a whānau. How much we help each other, right? So they are the people that reach out. We are here. We talk about this so many times in this series, in the podcast, how this process brings to New Zealand a special kind of immigrant, people who decides to make this crazy journey to the middle of the ocean. So we have so much in common sometimes. It's hard for people who are not here, even for our families that love us dearly. It's hard for them to understand the depth of some challenges that we live. But we understand each other. And that's the whānau. That's the thing that we share. And we understand the land, and it go and get strength from that. And that's beautiful.
It is. It is beautiful. So do you feel like you're at home now when that lady said to you, welcome home? Do you feel like you're at home?
I do. I have no doubt. We didn't have the chance to travel a lot around New Zealand. We've been to Palm. We only been to Wellington a couple of times. I have to go to Porirua, which is near Wellington, every week for my training. But we feel that we need to travel a bit more to decide where exactly you're going to set roots in New Zealand. It was such a privilege to arrive in Palmy. It's a wonderful place for children. I'm gonna have to move because of my training to do some parts of my training elsewhere. So we're gonna have a chance to move around. But I had no doubt that New Zealand is our home. We found ourselves here, and we're very happy to be here.
And you know, as you were speaking earlier on in the in the chat, you said, what those first few months when you got to Palmy, and you said, oh, what have I done? I left all my writing behind, my classes, my creativity. And actually, when you look at it, you didn't leave it behind. You were running to it, weren't you?
Yeah.
You were coming to it. Yeah. Yeah. And you finish your play. I love it. I really, really love it. Yeah. Oh, Julio, thank you so much. Would you like to end this meeting with the karakia as well? Would you be able to do that for us?
Yeah, I can do that.
Not to put you on the spot or anything.
That's okay. I didn't memorize so many different karakias, but we can make a different one. Okay. So this one is about, I'm going to say the translation beforehand so we can finish with the karakia itself. This is actually one that we usually make in the beginnings of meetings, but is one of my favorite karakias. It says that may our paths be as smooth as the green stone from the punama. Punama stone is that green stone that here in New Zealand we use a lot. It's a Māori craftsmanship. May we show respect to each other. The love that you give is the love you receive. Blessings to you all, and go on in peace. This is roughly the translation of this karakia. So this is how it goes. Kia hora te marino, kia whakapapa punamo te moana, hei huahari matatu I te rangi nei. Aroha atu, aroha mai. Tatu ia tatu I ngā wakatoa. Huye taikiri.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
That is absolutely beautiful. Julio, thank you so much. It's been an absolute joy to have you with me on the podcast, with us in the community, giving back so much, and just as is the Aotearoa way. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll speak to you soon. Give my love to Marlena as well.
Will do. Nyamihi nui. Thank you so much. Thank you to all of you guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I really hope you enjoyed that show as much as I enjoyed recording it. If you're moving to New Zealand and you are interested in joining the Slack group, the private community group that we raved about and talked about on today's show, then you need to head over and get our free 5-day video guide. This is a video guide that sends you a video every day for 5 days, sharing some aspect of what life in New Zealand is like. It's absolutely free. And then when you get to the 5th day, you will be given the option of whether or not you want to join the private community, the one that we talked about. It's a fabulous, fabulous resource. I don't need to say anything more because you've already heard all about it. Go over, take the free 5-day video guide, get to day 5, and then you can decide whether or not you'd like to be a member and join our private community along with me and Brian and all those other fabulous people that are walking along the same path as you and making the move to New Zealand. So head on over to www.nzahead.com/free. Head on over to www.nzahead.com/free and get your free 5-day video guide. Get to day 5 and then you decide if you want to come and join us in our private membership group. I hope to see you on the other side. It's all very well to say you want to leave the United States and move to New Zealand, and you make that move and you live there and everything's fine. But what happens when the dust settles? What happens when your daughter starts school and your wife goes to work and you start work? What happens 2 years later into the journey?
I was very mindful that when we moved here, we would have the immigrant experience. Like, we are the ones who are not from this land, and we have to learn the culture and the norms, and like, we need to try to fit in. But I think out of all places,
in this week's episode, we are going to revisit with Ben, and we're going to catch up on his journey, what it's been like living in New Zealand as a family from the United States. So let's jump on in and meet Ben.